These days, cars are made from sophisticated metal alloys, high-impact plastics, and a variety of other high-tech materials. But there was a day when cars were made from wood. Well, not every car, but today we take a little trip down memory lane in a classic car that many of you have probably never seen. Hamilton County Judge Bob Moon shares an amazing creation called a Woody. You're looking at a 1940 Ford Deluxe Woody. The Woody was made by Ford from 1928 to 1951. Brand new on the showroom floor, they cost $950. Today, owner Bob Moon says they can fetch anywhere from $125,000 to $300,000.
Woody has kind of reinvented itself over the years. I think the wood on the car is what is probably the attraction of it and probably what separates it from, you know, a lot of the other antique cars.
Is that real wood they used on all of them?
It is. That wood actually came from Michigan. In 1921, Henry Ford bought 315,000 acres in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And before long, he had the largest sawmill production plant in the world. That mountain was filled with birch and maple. And Ford went up there with his men and literally walked the place over and brought some of the forestry people in there and told him, you know, exactly what he had. And so that mountain provided things other than just wood for Woodies. It provided floorboards for Model A's and other wood components. The 40 Fords, the automobiles, have wooden frames for the seats. Of course, those were the war years, and so they were replacing metal with wood during those years.
Also, I noticed the inside the top. Yeah. It's wood too.
It is. Yeah, it's all wood. The wooden body part of that car was made at Iron Mountain. And what they would do is they would, by train car, send the chassis up to Iron Mountain to have the bodies fitted onto the chassis. And Ford used wagon makers back in those days, and carpenters, cabinet makers, things like that. The people that made the wagons, the horse and buggies, were the first craftsmen to make Woodies. And initially, his cars were all varnished by hand with a brush, and it wasn't until later on in the late 30s that they began to use the spray to put the varnish on. It'd have about anywhere from 3 to 6 coats of varnish on those Woodies. The spare tire carrier that was on the back was an option, and I would say probably that was only on maybe 20 to 25% of the vehicles because of the cost. But during the war years, rubber and gas, as you know, was a premium, and so Ford developed this spare tire lock to keep anyone from stealing the tire out of the spare tire carrier. This was an option in 1940 for all 40 Fords. It's a locking gas cap, and this is a authentic 40 reproduction gas cap that Ford offered at a price of 50 cents. Don, 3 of the options that Ford provided in 1940 was a wind-up clock. It's not an electric clock, it's a wind-up clock. Another option that was provided was what was known as the hot water heater. Ford offered 2 heaters. They offered a hot air heater that was very dangerous. It connected to the manifold, and the heat source came from the temperature of the manifold in the engine. The better and more safer heater was this hot water heater that connected directly into the radiator hoses and had an inlet and outlet hose. This was a very, very high-tech radio. What you would do, you would adjust your stations here, and then what you would do over here is you would turn this to 1, and then you would push that, and that would set your station, and then get you another station and roll this down to 2 and push that, and that would set your station. You could set up to 5 stations with this.
Wow.
But it's an AM only, obviously.
Yeah, AM only.
Yeah, AM only.
Yeah, a lot of you people probably don't know what AM radio is. By the way, did you notice that the Woody had 3 seats in it? You could say in a way that it was the future SUV because the back seat, the third one, was also, you could take it out as well. Interesting time, beautiful vehicles, the Woody.